Let's go to Congressman David Cicilline from Rhode Island. He's a Democrat. He's a member on the House Foreign Relations Committee. Congressman, good to have you with us.
Good morning, Ed. Good to be with you.
Good. I want your response to Donald Trump in a database for Muslims and also the vote that took place yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is happening here?
I think, everyone should be really, really disappointed in that sort of suggestion by Mr. Trump. It's almost beyond responding to it, so contrary to our values as a country. But I want to correct one thing that you said. Look, the legislation that was before the House yesterday does not add a new screening process. We should acknowledge, first of all, and recognize that people have genuine anxiety after what they saw in Paris, and it's understandable. But we also have a responsibility as leaders to explain to folks why they should feel reassured that we have the most intensive review process on the planet in terms of our refugees. It is a multi-agency, multi-level, a 13-step process that involves the Department of Defense, the Department of State, the Counterterrorism Center, the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security. It requires a personal interview and the searching of all of these databases, biometric screenings.
Congressman, I don't hear any of this on the mainstream media.
I know. It takes 18 to 24 months on average, almost up to 2 years, sometimes up to 3 years. This is a very thorough process. And just to give people context, of the 2,174 refugees that have been admitted from Syria to this country since September 11th of 2001, not a single one has been charged with any terrorism-related offense. So this is a program that works. What happened yesterday was the Republican bill added not a new test or a new evaluation. It added a whole level of bureaucracy for the same review by requiring these certifications and by requiring reports to congressional committees. It added a lot of bureaucracy, but no new safety. So the reality is this pause program doesn't enhance safety. The system that we have in place works well. And actually, General Keane, who was a terrific witness, a four-star general, the former vice chief of staff to the U.S. Army, testified before our committee. He said, closing the door to Syrian refugees plays into the hands of exactly what ISIS wants. It supports the narrative of sort of the Muslim world versus the non-Muslim world. And he went on to say, I am confident that some of the statements that are being made around this town are already on social media being used by ISIS to recruit and to strengthen their hand. And so this is making us less safe, this sort of action. We've got a very good review process that keeps us safe and that honors our values as a country, as a place where people come who are fleeing rape and murder and slaughter. And it's to me shameful that presidential candidates are making the kinds of suggestions that Mr. Trump has made.
This is one of your Democratic colleagues, Luis Gutierrez from Illinois. This is where he thinks it's going.
I expect those who want to use the carnage and the human tragedy, the terrorism, the loss of life in Paris, France, to use this as a measure against immigrants, against refugees, and to destroy a very successful refugee resettlement program, which has worked for decades here in the United States. I think they want to use this crisis and this act of terrorism to stop immigration and all kinds of immigration, legal and other immigration to the United States of America.
Congressman Cicilline, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I think it's clear that in the early days that's exactly what's happening. And I think what we have to do on the other side is remind people we recognize the anxiety that folks have. It's fear. They're afraid, and we understand that. We have to reassure them that what we have in place will keep them safe. And to your earlier point, the process that we have in this country for a refugee resettlement is completely different than what's happening in Europe. In Europe, refugees are showing up on their shores, and they're essentially just registering. They don't actually have any process that compares to ours at all. Before you can even come to the United States, which takes 18 to 24 months before you're approved, you have to go through this very vigorous and robust process. It's completely different. And so to sort of conflate the two is really unfair. And we stand for something as a country, a place where people who are fleeing persecution, who are fleeing civil war, at least can come for refuge. We can't take everyone. We've taken a very small number of refugees. refugees. And I've argued we should be taking more, but people should have confidence that the system that is in place, in fact, protects the national security interests of the United States, the safety of the American people, but also honors our values as Americans.
Congressman, good to have you with us.
Thanks,
I appreciate your take on this. Thanks so much. David Cicilline, a Democrat from Rhode Island, and he is a member of the House Foreign Relations Committee. And so this has passed in the House by a vote of 289 to 137. There were 45 Democrats that went against the president on this and sided with the Republicans. What that means, I don't know. Obviously, there are people that are concerned about security in a different world. But this is Senate Democratic leader Harry Reid saying it'll never get to the president's desk.
Could you and can the Senate Democrats support that language in the House bill?
We've explained here in some detail. The problem is not with refugees. I don't think we're going to be dealing with it over here. Yes.
Just underlining that President Obama has promised to veto the bill in the House if it gets passed.
Don't worry, it won't get passed. Okay. So next question.
So that means there'll be a filibuster. It's about time that the Democrats start recognizing that they can play this game too when they're in the minority.